Point out before the final start, I said the only way that Cleveland will win is if somebody gets hurt. Klay Thompson got hurt.
JR fell on him.
Fell on him, and then
really? Did he fall on him in quotes?
It looked like he slipped.
He looked like he slipped, and he undercutted him, and he flipped.
Got his legs.
Speaking of sports down in New York, Malusis was on the other day. He was giving his predictions of, and I don't like the guy, but he was giving his predictions of the NBA Finals. He's like, here's my prediction: the NBA Finals MVP won't be Durant, won't be Curry, it'll be Klay Thompson. Well, I don't think so.
We'll see.
But both teams have a Thompson, right?
Yeah, Tristan Thompson.
Tristan Thompson.
Yeah. Even though I don't claim him with the Tristan name, I don't claim him. But
and do both teams have a Green?
Draymond Green and Jeff Green.
Oh yeah, Jeff Green.
So there's two. It's getting confusing.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. That's funny. The Cavs are really trying to be like the Warriors.
I've heard people talking. I'm like, I don't know what team you're talking about. Use first names. Yeah, like, well, if Draymond comes, if Green comes through, the Cavs will be like, why would they come? Why would they come through with that?
Yeah,
He's on the other team. He's good.
And LeBron.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Now we're going to use his last name, James.
Yeah, James.
James who?
All you need is love. What? What are you talking about? Love's all you need. What?
And a quick question for you basketball fans. I was not forced, but I wasn't going to change the channel when the Celtics played Cleveland in the last game.
Yeah.
Do you have a 1970s TV that you couldn't change the channel?
No, I was in mixed company, and
gotcha.
I really wanted to make fun of the game, which I did. Let me ask you a question. How many, between the two teams that night, how many threes attempted?
Who was 0 for 27, right?
That was the Rockets.
The Rockets went 0 for 27.
You got yourself to blame if you're 0 for 27.
Yeah.
John Starks laughs at you.
Wow. Combine with the teams. Guess how many attempts there were? Come on, give me a shot.
50.
60.
83.
Oh. And you know why it looks bad? Because wasn't the final score only 80-something to 70-something? Like 86 to 79?
Right. It's like watching girls basketball in high school.
Nothing wrong with that. Those girls got game.
Oh, Mark, you got to.
They could beat you.
Yeah. Were you the security guard at Citi Field yesterday when the fire broke out?
You know what a security guard does when there's a fire, right?
Runs.
Yes.
Runs.
You call your supervisor. What kind of fire is it? Well, it's the orange kind, you know.
No, it's the blue
with the bright red flames. And
you know, Mark, your stunning Tampa Bay, they could actually
2 games over 500.
Pretty good starting pitching. They could actually rebuild that team overnight, or within 2 or 3 years by trading off some of their starters.
Yeah, the funny thing is that the offense has been really ticking this year for them.
We don't need to see the Rays get good.
Doing better than the Mets.
The Mets need to figure out something. We don't.
The NHL dodged that bullet.
Yeah, we're not even going to worry about the Rays if they get good or not. The Mets need to figure this thing out.
Even though they're 2 games over 500, they're still like 10 games back of the Yankees.
And the Red Sox,
yeah.
I think Ron Darling had the quote of the night when he said to Gary Cohen, "The Mets definitely need to add another bench player."
Well, tonight they had 4,800 hits on the bench. They had Gonzalez, Reyes, and Kevin Pilecki. Oh, but now here's my question for you, Yankee fans, and Nick's not here, so it's Cameron and Dave. The wild card. Now that it's become a one-game win-or-out kind of thing, the Yankees and the Red Sox, those games matter. They have to win. You have to win the division. You cannot rely on the wild card, because let alone a one game, anything can happen. An error or whatever, a weird kind of fluke, whatever. Your pitching staff gets all out of whack when you have to go play that game. You're putting your ace there, like Severino or whomever, and then you're not ready for the next series.
And it's probably going to be Seattle, the way Seattle's been playing this year.
Let me tell you about Seattle.
Cano.
They have a superior, and they added a guy on a trade from, I think, Minnie.
Oh, no. Who's that deal? Was it Tampa? Who did the Colome and...
Yeah, that was from Tampa.
Oh, yeah, Colome and Denard's fan.
They have an unbelievably superior bullpen, and I'm going to, even knocking the Yankees, they have a superior bullpen to everybody. Look at those ERAs. Let me tell you, those ERAs are like Met betting averages, 134, and stuff like that.
The Interstate.
Yeah, like I said, it's but it's funny. What actually did come out about the Houston pitches, and what they were supposed to be, changing, doctoring and stuff like that. Their pitching coach is a big fan of golf. And again, I'm not a golf fan, but he was studying the dynamics of the ball. When a guy hits a ball and it lands on the green and it bounces back, he was actually using the physics related to that sort of thing with a baseball. No, like I said, it astounded me that he's like, he basically said it's very simple. You don't have a perfectly round object. That you take advantage of the physics of the entire thing.
Well, speaking of the Astros and your vaunted Yankees, Justin Verlander seems to be the scary one right now.
Oh, definitely.
And you know what? Who would have thought? Though we were on the show last year, we were espousing that he was going to get better once he left Detroit.
Yep,
he got a lot better.
Yeah, exactly, a lot better. But
he still wins every night.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
he hasn't lost,
keep
right?
yours yourself. Give me Kate Upton. But if you want to have a contest,
I like when he was on Detroit.
The fact is that Verlander is a Yankee killer, and that matters. Not to say the Yankees and the Astros necessarily are going to meet up again. We don't know that, but he is a Yankee killer, and they have to get through each other. So,
and most likely they will see him twice.
Right.
So.
Yeah, no, it's an outstanding dynamic. And again, when I was referring to the starting pitching, that if somebody, the Yankees need, but if somebody else should lose a pitcher because of injury, Tampa Bay is a very good plucking ground. In that regard.
That was my next point. Yankee fans like yourselves, tomorrow is June 1st. Now would be the time to start learning the names of available pitchers that could become front of the rotation guys. You need guys who could be a 1-2-3 starter, right?
And
because
you understand one thing, and it was explained with the Rule 5 draft. The Yankees have such a plethora, sorry for that, of minor league talent that they're going to have to start dumping a lot of players. So they're going to be doing a couple of 3-for-1 trades for starting pitchers because they can't carry all 40. What's coming up through AAA and AA is outstanding.
Just to inform our listeners of that, because a Rule 5 draft is if a guy's been in the minors for 5 years and is not on your 40-man roster, he has to be exposed to all other teams to give him the opportunity to play at the major league level. And then if that team, if he has to stay on the major leagues roster for that time, and if he's sent down, then you have a chance to get him back. But there's a number of good prospects down there that the Yankees could give up because they're not cracking the 40-man roster. So
plus, and they're controllable money wise, and it's just, and the Met fans that want to keep their nose up in the air, you got to start dumping those. You have nothing down there, and I'm not saying to the Yankees, but if you could fleece the Yankees for a couple of good plays, I mean, we got Torreyes in the mean, like I'm playing down. We got Torreyes in the minors. We have other guys that you could grab 3-for-1, but you got to,
But there's no way you can ever deal with Jacob deGrom or Noah Syndergaard. It's just they're just too good. They're too young. They're too controllable. They're too cheap. They're special players, and they give you a chance to win every time they pitch. So at Spawn and saying and pray for rain, it's
it's sort of like when you hear the Mets starting lineup and you hear Plawecki batting 50. Go, wow, we're in.
Well, I will say this: since the results haven't borne it out because the bullpen's been terrible, but Mesoraco has been a good acquisition.
Yes, he has.
He handles that pitching staff really well. And I think he's been a good influence on Plawecki because he's a catcher who can hit. So he's teaching Plawecki some of those things as well. So Mesoraco, and when you talk about how out of whack some salaries are in baseball, the fact that Mesoraco makes what he makes off of one good year, it's like wow.
That's what it is. My dad used to tell me that he wanted me. He's a Mets fan, but he always felt like I could be like the CC Sabathia of the Mets. So he wanted me to play baseball, but growing up, I was never really into baseball. I'm just like, that's boring, but football is what it is. But now that I look at the contract, it makes a lot of sense.
Right. Well, like Hayward was batting number 2 for the Cubs tonight. Yeah. And there's a guy, everyone knows the number, $184 million. Mm-hmm. That's what they gave him to play, and he's done nothing. He's an incredible right fielder. He's an incredible Gold Glove. But
nothing.
If you think about the one thing that he's most known for as a Cub, do we all know what that is?
It was, the year that the Mets beat them?
No, it was the meeting during the rain delay of Game 7 against the Indians in the World Series, where he called the meeting in the clubhouse. And he led the meeting that inspired them to win that Game 7 and win the World Series. So for $184 million, and there were 2 other teams also bidding on that kind of money to give to him as well. So it wasn't just the Cubs. I would say for a Cubs championship, they probably made more than $184 million. So, that meeting kind of came through for him. So
that's one of the great questions of all time. If you think about it, was it worth giving up Torres to get the championship? Meaning with Chapman as far as Torres coming to the Yankees.
Oh yeah, for the Cubs.
Yeah.
Well, Chapman almost blew that game twice. That whole World Series, and the genius that is Joe Madden, right?
Keep him out there. That's all.
Yeah. Well, and now you got Andrew Miller, who I think is going to be a free agent after this year.
Free agent.
But he's injured, right? He's off to injured. So yeah, he's shot, kind of deal. That's because he was used a lot.
Do you really feel like the Yankees should go for Machado? And because obviously Didi would have to be. Didi would have to.
Here's a discussion. Have you guys compared? And I hadn't until someone mentioned this the other day, and then I looked at the numbers. If you look at Machado's numbers next to Bryce Harper's numbers, they're very similar. The difference being on base percentage. It's a huge difference in on base percentage for Bryce Harper because he takes walks.
Shout out to Nimmo.
But Machado, exactly. Machado plays short though. Right? That's the difference.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
And the other difference is the fact that Bryce Harper's injured a lot. Machado's not. Machado plays every day.
Every day.
And that's one thing I still think Harper's the better player, but you look at the numbers and they're very similar.
Very close.
And then on top of that, I heard the Mets beat writer tonight from Newsday, Tim Healy, was on with the fan. They have that not the fan, on the Mets game on WOR, but they have that half inning where the guys in the studio in the booth with them. And they were talking about Cespedes. And today, Sandy Alderson had a press conference. And in speaking about Cespedes, he said a couple of things. One, he said that it's going to be a lingering kind of thing. He's going to have to learn how to deal with it, which is kind of weird because you just paid this guy crazy money. You're getting buyer's remorse, and you're saying he's going to have this the rest of his career. Not a good thing. And number two, his other point was he was saying, and it's about a lot of guys, but pretty much about Cespedes, that they're going to have to learn to be less cautious with their injuries than more cautious, meaning you're going to just play. Play through it, play if you got to play. And Tim Healy from Newsday, and again, this line's got to be in his article tomorrow because it's too good a line for him to use not to put in one of his articles. He said that, you know what? He said, what was the word? Durability. Durability is a tool. And, because in baseball you have the tools, the running, the hitting, the throwing, the speed, all that kind of stuff. And Cespedes has not had that tool for a couple of years now, the durability. And that's a really good line because it's true. It is, the ability of staying on the field has to count for something. So Bryce Harper has better on-base percentage numbers than Machado, but Bryce Harper has a 0 on-base percentage in games when Machado's playing because Bryce Harper's injured. And just like Wayne Gretzky said, he missed 100% of all shots he didn't take. Right? It's kind of thing. Good things happen when you throw rubber at the net.
And then when Cespedes tries, he's trying too hard. Like, remember that time against the White Sox?
He does hustle. I will say, when he's in the outfield, he'll go after balls, and then it takes him forever to stop. It's like getting a parachute.
Sometimes yes, sometimes no, because there have been plays where he could have gone a little bit faster.
Right. Well, in the infield, I'm also of the opinion that live to fight another day. If there's an infield ball or something and you're going to be out anyway, it's okay to run at half speed because don't get injured on a play that's going to be an out anyway or whatever. Don't risk it. And this year the bases are very slippery. Guys are slipping left and right. And, so
I'm just curious with the panel. Is Chris smiling right now because we have Rudy on in the back?
I don't like Rudy. The movie.
Let me tell you that USC when Charles was out there with my daughter, he's just a professional moocher. I was going to use another word, but it's a kids program. He likes to go from tailgate to tailgate, and it's like, give me a beer. Okay.
I never heard of Rudy. The only thing that it helped me was when I would tell people that we had walk-on tryouts all the time. Everyone's like, no, you didn't. Finally, the movie showed that we did. But I'd never even heard of him, but I knew who he was because he was the maintenance guy at the Oak Hill condominium complex next door, which is where Joe Theismann had a condo as well. And when he had with Theismann originally, Theismann has Heisman, and then when he when Theismann had his palimony suit with Kathy Lee Crosby, he got to hold on to that condo because his lawyer fought hard for that. But Daniel Rudiger was the maintenance guy there because he'd been let go from his used car salesman job in Mishawaka, which is a suburb of South Bend. So I didn't know anything about this guy except that he was that maintenance guy at the Oak Hill condos. So then to find out that it's this movie, he becomes a motivational speaker, getting like $50,000 a pop and things like that. I was like, really? Well, okay.
When is Dave's second favorite athlete going to be a motivational speaker? Hiroki Ojita.
Oh, he's still hanging out. Don't worry.
So now, Dave, is Justified going to win or Justified?
I am hoping like heck that it's a clean race, obviously. And I've said to you before, and again, I wasn't pinpointing Justify. If it's a rainy day, especially on a 1.5-mile track, these young horses do not do not like getting stuff kicked back in their face, nor would any of us.
Yeah.
And he's got the ability to get out front and let him kick up enough mud just to keep it,